Hey everybody, this is Nick from Hexfleet Virules. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/HexfleetVirules or obviously on this YouTube channel. Please subscribe. I'd appreciate it if you did so I can keep building out with better technology and better software and more episodes. And I'm on Instagram at HexfleetVirules. And so today I wanted to do kind of an impromptu episode about the new campaign supplement just came out, the second one for Psychic Awakening, Faith and Fury. And if you're a Chaos player like me, you have learned to have pretty low expectations for new rules from Games Workshop, especially when it comes to supplements. If you've been playing for a while, you might remember the Black Legion supplement. This is actually the second version. The first version was even worse, but this one was still pretty bad. And then one glorious time, famously, almost as famous as the old glorious earlier codexes for Chaos Space Marines, there was an edition where we finally, after decades, got a special supplement for Traitor Legions, and it was amazing. And then like maybe 5 months later, it disappeared forever, despite all the thick, glorious rules in here, because we moved to a new edition. So, is this new version of the Chaos Space Marine Legion rules in a supplement, is it hot or not? And I think it's actually really good. And I'm going to go over the rules with you today, so that you could see what I mean. And I'm just going to talk about the main things that stood out to me. I saw a few of the leaks yesterday. Today's Saturday. The pre-orders are up. But the people, lucky people, unlike me, who get the book early, they already got to do some reviews, and they posted the rules pretty much word for word online. And so I'm going to go over one of those pages with you. And the one that I really recommend is goonhammer.com. They've started posting a lot of content here in 2019, and I really like their articles. I really like their analysis. I don't agree with everything, but it's really educational for me, especially with all the supplements and stratagems and everything coming out now. It's really hard to keep track of what I need to worry about when I play a game or when I go to a tournament. And they have a rating system, so I don't always agree with their ratings, but it helps me figure out what I need to pay attention to and what rules I really need to know, because I can't play every army and I can't memorize every codex. Not even if I, have them on my phone. So it's a good website, and I recommend it. And so I'm going to set up the chat here. If any of you are watching and are in the chat, feel free to say what you think about the book, ask questions, leave comments, and we can chat a bit. And then here, finally figured out how to do this using my software. I just upgraded it, so bear with me a bit, but this is so that you can follow along with what I'm doing here, looking over the rules from this codex. So these army rules, malicious volleys and hateful assault, aren't something new. You're just putting in print what we already got with digital, basically bolter discipline and hateful assault. A lot of people, including me, have written off the Chaos Space Marine Codex in this edition for a while now, but the more I think about it, the more I think these two rules make a lot of units that maybe weren't worthwhile. Now they make them worthwhile. Yeah. Hey there, Robin. Yeah, Iron Within, Iron Without. I just started reading the Hansu books, so I'm excited to look at more Iron Warrior stuff, and I'm going to go over the rules here too. And so being able to shoot your combi bolters on Terminators at 24 inches is a big deal. Everybody, including Terminators, getting an extra attack every turn is a big deal. It's a big deal on characters. I'm really benefiting from Hateful Assault. I just won first place at a tournament a week or two ago with a list, a new list, and I tried Blight Lord Terminators, and the Hateful Assault's especially good on them because they have the Flails of Corruption. The extra attack that you get from that is actually D3 extra. And of course, all these extra ones can trigger Death for the False Emperor. So, and that's going to come up with this new supplement because there's a lot of stuff that can boost you to get extra attacks. And so, Hateful Assault is just really fantastic. The new thing here is the Demon Weapons, and there's only 5 of them, But the cool thing about them is, and this is the one thing that I think we still do better than Space Marines even now, is there's a lot of ways you can customize your characters or your detachments using the four Chaotic God keywords: Slaanesh, Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle. And, it's like, oh, I want to take this Legion, but I still want to give him this psychic power. So I'm going to give him that mark. And then there's another character that I really want to give him this relic, so I'm going to give him a different Chaos God mark. And so that flexibility is really great, combined with the fact that we can still mix and match characters with special relics by taking a Heretic Astartes detachment, as long as you have another detachment that is whatever Legion that you want to unlock something special, or you want to just unlock something generic that like the stratagems that are for everybody. So like you could have one detachment or two detachments that are the specific Traitor Legions you want, and then have a third one that's just Heretic Astartes and be like, okay, well, I want some Foul Blightspawn, and I want Ahriman, and then I want this Chaos Space Marine character that I'm going to give a relic that I can unlock because I have the other detachments. And so I think a lot of people forget that you can really customize what you want with the marks and with the Heretic Astartes keyword. And so for the demon weapons, they already previewed one of them. That was the Fist of Decay. It's a power fist that always wounds on 2s. That could be good. I wish, like Space Marines, we could give these to sergeants. I don't know why we still can't do that. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not sure why Chaos Space Marines didn't get it in this supplement when we had already the second Vigilus supplement, and we had a reprint of the Chaos Space Marine Codex, and now we have a second supplement, and we still don't have doctrines or improved Legion traits or the ability to give things to sergeants. I don't know why we didn't get any of that in any of these 3 books. So if that's what you're looking for with this supplement, which is what a lot of people are hoping for, you're not going to get it, and it really baffles me. There's an outside chance that maybe they're like in chapter approved, look guys, we're really sorry, your Legion traits are bad, they don't work on vehicles, here's an update. There's also a chance that maybe they update the data sheets. Like there's a rumor that the cult troops like Plague Marines, that they go up to 2 wounds. That's probably not going to happen, but it is possible, and I've heard people saying that that's a rumor going around. So I'm not going to count on it now. The only thing I can hope for in chapter proof is some points cuts. But no, you can't put these new demon relics on sergeants. But the one thing that people I don't think have noticed really yet, a few people have, but if you look, and this is probably why they added demon weapons to this supplement, which I wasn't expecting. If you've ever tried to run a Red Corsair detachment or really kind of almost anything, you're like, okay, well, I've got these demon princes, and maybe I'll give them a relic, or I get a free relic because I'm Red Corsair. And then you look through the old list of relics in the Chaos Space Marine Codex, even the reprinted one, and they're all really restrictive. They're like a power sword, or the mace for the Dark Apostle, and almost none of them are things that you can give to a demon prince, except like the elixir for the Slaanesh. And so that was always a big restriction, and it's one reason that, and yet another reason, the Chaos Demon version of Demon Princes is a lot better, or the Thousand Suns version, or the Death Guard version. But a lot of these 5, other than the Power Fist, obviously, the other ones, the Tzeentch Sword, the Slaanesh Talons, the Khorne Sword, or this Black Axe, that's not for any particular god. Those 4 you can take on Demon Princes. So that's a big upgrade for the Chaos Space Marine Demon Princes that don't get the nice Feel No Pains or extra casts or +1 invulnerable save that the ones in the other codexes do. Of course, the benefit here is, compared to the Chaos Demon ones, they get better access to a really good tree. They can warp time themselves or diabolic strength themselves. So that's really good. So let's go through these real quick. Yeah, I agree, Michael. It's really weird that just basic stuff that Space Marines and even in some cases every other army except like maybe Gene Stealer Cults has, and Chaos Space Marines still don't get it. That's really weird, but it's not like they haven't known about it because it was the first codex basically came out for 8th edition. But anyways, so this Tzeentch sword, I was really excited about this when I read there was going to be ignore invulnerable saves. I guessed correctly that was going to be the Tzeentch one. The problem is, it's for sword, Hellforged sword, or Force sword. But, I thought it was going to be like a Hellforged sword where it's 2 damage, maybe it's 3 damage, but it's like a power sword. It's strength user, AP -3, and D3 damage, and it ignores invulnerable saves. I might still use this. I still think ignoring invulnerable saves is amazing on an AP3 weapon. The problem is that it's D3. I really wanted this to be 2 damage or 3 damage so that I can go into a unit of Terminators, or there's a lot of really scary units that have invulnerable saves, the Dark Eldar stuff, and I'm like, I want this to be a high damage weapon, and then to really roll into someone with this. There is going to be an upgrade in one of the legions that you add +1 damage. Most people are going to put that on like it's really for possessed or demon units, but I think you can put it on a character that has the demon keyword, and so I'll get to that in a minute. So then you could be D3 +1, and then suddenly I'm interested. So I think maybe that's a combination, an early combo from what I'm looking at. I think there's stuff you can do with this that might end up being really used often. I just don't know yet. I do wish we had doctrines and updated traits, but I think this goes a long way. Yeah, I don't know, Andrew. I don't know why we don't have that. I do think there's a lot of potential here. You can't underestimate the ability to ignore invulnerable saves. I mean, usually you have to cast a psychic power for that, or you have like the Chaos Knights that have the Cornate Relic, and it's 1 use only, and then you also turn it off for you, and you don't take another relic. This is just always on. And Tzeentch is, there's a lot of good Tzeentch models. You can put it on a Demon Prince of whatever legion you want from the Chaos Space Marine Codex, and give them this relic, and give them the ability to cast the +1 invulnerable save on themselves. So now they're up to 4 up invulnerable save, just like the Thousand Suns version. And then you're still going to have whatever your legion trait is for that you picked, and then you're going to have maybe a new warlord trait, and then maybe someone else can cast Diabolic Strength on you. So I do think this is actually, it's usable. It might end up being really good depending on what else you put in your army. Then the next one, this one's just clearly good. This is replacing Lightning Claws or Malefic Talons. Now you finally get to take stuff for Demon Princes. It's the same stats, except you reroll the wound roll, unlike Malefic Talons. Awesome. And you roll, all of these require that you roll a 2+. Even if the 2+ doesn't do anything, on a 1 you can't use the weapon, and it's mortal wound, just like Abaddon's sword. The ignore vulnerable save sword for Tzeentch doesn't do anything with the 2+ other than let you fight. But this Slaanesh one, when you roll that 2+, you get that many extra attacks. And there's actually, I think, a mistake on this thing from Goonhammer. They talk about how you don't get the extra 3 attacks from the 2 Talons. But what a lot of people don't know, or what they forget all the time, is that even if you bring a different weapon for the Demon Prince other than 2 Talons, you always get at least 1 extra Talon attack. So even if you normally have 4, you actually have 5. You just have to roll separately or roll a different die. So you're really only losing 2 Talon attacks with this. Well, if you get to fight, you roll a 1, you don't get to use it. If you roll a 2+, with this one, you get 2 extra attacks. So unless you roll a 1 and don't fight at all with it, you're guaranteed at least as many attacks as if you just brought the normal double Malefic Talons. And if you roll a 6, you get 4 more attacks. So, I think this means you're going to get, unless it says something that like it replaces both Malefic Talons, in which case, yes, okay, so then that's 1 less attack. You're either going to have, depending what it is, 4 or 5 base attacks, plus another 2 to 6 extra attacks. And then you're now going to get an extra attack for Hateful Assault. And so you can get up to like 10 or 11 attacks maybe on a Slaanesh Demon Prince of whatever legion you want. And like I had the same thought that they point out here, that put this on a flawless host character that, and then put maybe prescience on them, and then all of a sudden, every one of those that triggers on a 5 or a 6 is going to be an additional 2 attacks, and so you can get, and you're re-rolling 1s anyway because you're a Demon Prince, and so you can get to the point where if you put this on a flawless host Demon Prince with the Warlord trait, one Demon Prince is putting out maybe like 20 or 26 attacks, especially versus Imperials. And unlike before, now suddenly that guy gets to re-roll that wound roll. And AP minus 2 damage, good for Primaris. I think it's fantastic. I think this is even good on a guy who has just normal Lightning Claws. Then the Khorne one, you already saw this online. It's not as good as the Khorne Demon Prince axe from the Khorne Demon's Codex, but nothing really is. It's a great relic. This one's good because now you can at least give something to a Khorne Demon Prince that's like World Eaters or something. And if so, I'm definitely doing this. I would have to magnetize my old guy so I could switch between an axe and a sword. But I think this is actually pretty good. But I wouldn't go out of my way to pick it up. They already previewed the Nurgle Power Fist. I mean, I think it's cool to get a Power Fist. That's a relic, but the problem is, what are you going to put it on? You can't put it on a Demon Prince. It's great if you have something with a lot of attacks. I don't know. You're going to get 4 or 5 attacks, maybe more, depending what you do with like a Chaos Lord and Terminator armor. Maybe if you use something else to give it more attacks. It is great that you can wound anything with it. I'm just not sure. And then they have this Black Axe relic that is garbage, except on an unmodified 4+ to wound roll, you do a mortal wound. But again, you're not doing that many attacks with it, so I'm not sure. There is some stuff that I'll get to as I go down on these rules that gives you the ability to re-roll wounds when you normally wouldn't get to. And so if you have something that, like maybe you put this on the Flawless Host guy and you give him an axe and then you give him some of the other stuff. Well, if he's Flawless Host, he can't get the other stuff. So I don't know. If you have something, a lot of attacks that re-rolls to wound, maybe. But I don't think it's great. Hey, Steven. Yeah, Axe or Talons are the best. Now, I do have my Thousand Suns ones modeled with swords. I regret that a little bit. But sometimes it really pays off. When they get into things that have 3 wounds a model and you don't waste that extra to wound roll, it's really nice. And it's really nice when you run into something that halves damage, like Aberrants or something. Because otherwise the Talons are doing 1 damage each. With the sword, you're doing 2. So that's nice because you round up. And then the other thing is if they attack a flyer, getting to do 3 damage when you go through is nice. But yeah. Hey, Mr. Pancho. Yeah. Bienvenue. Welcome. My French is pretty bad, but welcome here. Let's go over the Legion traits so I don't go on too long. Word Bearers, we all know Word Bearers got completely screwed in this edition. They've gotten screwed in a lot of editions. They do have one of the best relics in the basic codex, the Mace. If you take that one and you put on the new prayer that they got in Vigilus or in the codex reprint that gives them AP minus 4 and 3 extra attacks, you could start stacking stuff on a Dark Apostle and where he can take down knights by himself or whatever he wants, really. The problem is that Games Workshop makes the rules based on the models. The models are made first, and he's on foot. If you could give him a jump pack or Terminator armor, yeah, my French is chaotic. It's true. Then I would be really all over a Dark Apostle. The things that stand out is I agree with the way they reviewed this with their ratings. Exalted Possession. You The Warlord gains Possessed and Demon keywords if they don't already have them. +1 Strength and +1 Attack, +1 to Movement. Very cool, very fluffy. Now you can make your Warlord possessed by a demon. This is a throwback to what we were trying to do back in the... What is it? Yeah, lots of supplements that last edition, huh? Who remembers that? All about are your guys, possessed by demons, some character upgrades. Now it's kind of back for word bearers. Very cool. The neat thing about this is the demon keyword. There's just a lot of stuff that you can do when you give something the demon keyword and you bring allied demons. So like maybe you want your word bearers warlords to reroll charges. So okay, give him this upgrade, and if he wasn't already a demon, and then bring a core demon detachment, and those characters are going to give a 6-inch aura of reroll charges. So if your guy comes down with Terminator armor or a jump pack, extra damage from Nurgle, potentially -1 to hit from Zinch. The really strong thing is I think Advance and Charge. Advance and Charge with Slaanesh is really good. Yeah, I agree, Steven. There's just a lot of stuff in here. People really keep thinking about possess bombs. Some people wanted to do it with Black Legion and the Vigilist because you could spend a command point and give them every keyword, and then bring like 4 different Psychers, or and give them 4 different buffs, or 3 different buffs. Korn doesn't get one. So I don't know. I'm still not convinced on Possessed. I think Greater Possessed are good stats for the points, but still not convinced I want to bring them in my list. But this is neat. This means if you're already bringing stuff to boost demons, now you can put it on any type of Chaos HQ unit that you want to make your Warlord. So I think that's really good. Roll D3 before the battle, get that many CP. Once a game, reroll single hit wound or damage save. It's not amazing, but there are going to be lists where you're desperate for command points, and I never look down on getting extra command points before the game starts. Wordbearer demon units within 6 get an extra attack. Not bad. Then there's also get an extra wound, and each start of your turn regain D3 lost wounds. I think that could be good on a Demon Prince, but not what I'm most excited about. The relics are +1 to invulnerable save, debuff enemy leadership. Okay. Enemy units within friendly wordbearer units within 6 inches of warlord subtract 2 from the result from charging. This is my channel, so I can say what I want. This kind of fucks Gene Stealer Cult. I mean, put this on a wordbearer's guy and take 3 units of 30 cultists and just string them out across the board, the middle of the table. If Gene Stealer Cult brings down units that don't make charges, except for the really underpriced guys with the flamers, that flamer twice, which, yeah, will kill a cultist unit or whatever, everybody else wants to charge, and they bring a lot of characters to make sure they make those charges. This is really good. You can bring this in a Chaos Knight detachment if you want to string some guys out from your Warlord, because you could string this across the table. Just one model unit has to be within 6 inches of your Warlord, and then, hey, you don't want your Chaos Knights charged. If you're not already stringing them or bubble wrapping them, put some of these guys around, and it's going to make those charges from Deep Strike into your Chaos Knights a lot harder. Chaos Boons, I'm not interested. Here's a really good one, Malefic Tomb. An extra power from Dark Hereticus, and you get +1 to Psychic tests. I wish it was also an extra cast, but, you already get the cast too if you're a sorcerer, so that's great. That +1 to cast is really, really important. We all know why we take Ahriman, right? And I like that a lot. There's a Chain Axe Relic basically the same as anything else, except prevents non-vehicle, non-titanic units within 1 inch from falling back, unless they have a minimum move like a flyer. Really good. Not as good as Night Lords, though. Then they've got a priest thing that you can re-roll a prayer, which is actually good. The Dark Apostle, he already gets to do the, cast on a 2+, with a little disciple guys. Now it's a 2+ re-rolling. And there's going to be a stratagem here. You can upgrade them, like Space Marines, to do 2. So that means you're going to get both of yours. It's a 2-up re-rolling. What I like about that is, I'll just skip down to it. Yeah, Apostle of the Dark Council. You can only do it once. No enchant, extra prayer. What you can do here that I would like, the thing that I would consider doing with this, other than like trying to buff a unit, with more stuff, like that -1 to hit starts on the board, is take a Slaanesh Dark Apostle, give him that Warlord trait, give him this upgrade, make him Slaanesh, and now he can do a 2-up re-rolling, give himself advance and charge, and then he can do a 2-up re-rolling with the -4 AP, 3 extra attacks, and then you can give him the Word Bearer's Relic from the Codex. That's really good. Rerolls to wound versus Imperials, so Knights. And all of a sudden, you've got a guy that, might be able to move 12 inches and still charge, and just slaughter stuff for a guy that doesn't cost a lot of points. And I suspect that Dark Apostles are going to go down in points in Chapter Proved. I don't have any proof of that. It's just that the Chaplain and a lot of Space Marine characters went way down in points, where they're way cheaper than much worse Chaos Space Marine characters. So I'm hoping that the named characters and the Chaos Space Marine characters in Chapter Proved just go down in points again. If so, that might be a way to have like a really cheap guy in your backfield, that if someone gets close to you and deep strikes in, he just goes in and he absolutely trashes them, especially if they're Imperials. So that's the combo that I like. Yep, I agree. Tagging Riptide or Broadside is good, but I think you can do better stuff for that here. Other stuff, this is a really good one too. I really think I would consider a Word Bearer's Detachment with just 30 cultists, and then an Apostle, like with the loadout I just mentioned, and then a Terminator Sorcerer that has this +1 to cast, knows a 3rd power, and then give him this upgrade, or use this stratagem when he fails. So if he fails even with the +1, then it automatically goes off. So that means you cannot fail the key power. Whatever, you pick 1 power turn, and it's not possible to fail. Either you make it with that +1, and then maybe they try to deny, or you fail and you use this. And if you use this, they get no chance to deny, and you just take a mortal wound, which is who cares. Getting Death Hex or Prescience off is amazing, and this makes it even funnier if someone has a bunch of stuff like a Caluxus that makes you minus to cast. Okay, well, you made me fail it, great, now I get to spend a stratagem and it goes off guaranteed and you can't deny it. I think this is going to be a Word Bearer's Sorcerer in Terminator armor, or a Jump Pack is going to be the next best thing to Ahriman. I just think that's really good. That's a really useful detachment for those two characters. The rest of these are really interesting. You can pick Possessed or Greater Possessed to fight. So, okay, so you can't do it on that character, but you get an extra point of damage. So you're going to be doing D3 +1 damage. Really good. I don't know if you could put Possessed in like that drill from Forge World or something. But now there's enough stuff that if maybe you also bring some allied demons, and suddenly you start giving them, all the re-rolls or extra stuff, maybe it's worth considering. I'm going to be excited to see what people do. Hexagramic Ward. After you make a save roll for Ward Bear's character, the save is a 6. You can only use it once per battle on a given character. You know, the thing, this doesn't excite me except that I can't count the number of games where someone tries desperately to kill off a demon prince and they're down to that last little thing. And then I'm praying for a 5 or a 6 and I don't get it. And I spend a command point and I re-roll and I don't get it again because I didn't make that invulnerable save and they're dead. Here, I can roll, see what it is, and then spend 1 command point and say, you know what? That demon prince just got a 6 on the invulnerable save. You know, doesn't take that d6 damage. It's actually pretty good. Or if you bring that Sorcerer and Terminator armor and, you know, they're trying to snipe you and they're about to get them, and you need that invulnerable save on the Terminator, hey, 1 command point. Night Lords. I think Night Lords are one of the best, one of the legions that made out the best on this, in this codex. Reese also said on this most recent issue of Frontline, Signals from the Frontline on his Twitch and YouTube channel, he said Night Lords are going to be the thing that have the most impact on the meta. I agree. I'm happy for Reese. I wonder what it's like to playtest this for him because he has Night Lords army that he likes. I also think they have one of the better Legion traits. I know people don't think that because it's not nearly as good as what Space Marines get, but like next to Word Bearers, that -2 or -3 leadership trait isn't good by itself, but I think it's good if you're bringing like Tzeentch demons or Slaanesh demons. There's a lot of things that take leadership, and suddenly if you do Treason of Tzeentch and they're at -2 or -3 leadership and you get to take control of that knight, or you get to use the Gem of Slaanesh and they're at a minus couple leadership and you're able to shut down a character, I think that, you know, that's good. So I think it's not good if you're just bringing Night Lords. It's good if you're bringing demons with you because there's a lot of stuff they can do with leadership. Mr. Poncho asks, do I think Black Legion is still viable? I think it's been viable since Vigilus. One thing we're seeing with all the Space Marines is how excessively good it is to have a character that gives you reroll all hits now that it's not failed hits. And so if you have a character that gives you reroll all hits, flyers, you know, anything with -1 to hit, Plague Bearers or -2, -3, Overwatch, you can just really not give a damn about a lot of those key defensive abilities. Or, you know, about someone charging you on Deep Strike if you can reroll all your hits instead of just ones. And Abaddon gives you that. And I think for that alone, Black Legion is worth it. Imagine if Chapter Approved gives Obliterators a points reduction. Okay, do I bring 3 or 6 Obliterators and Deep Strike them down next to Abaddon? They're going to reroll all hits. That's not bad. Oh, and by the way, they're going to be fearless. And Abaddon makes all other Heretic Astartes fearless, including like Zangors. So Abaddon by himself makes Black Legion interesting. I think that the ability they have in Vigilus, they have a stratagem that, you know, you just automatically win the objective. If they reduced a points cost on Cultists, I can see near the end of the game you advance out from some building and get like one Cultist near an objective that the other person's clearly holding, and it's, you know, maybe end the final turn you say, oh, you know what? One Cultist takes it from all your objective secured guys. Or maybe you do that, you know, more than once if you really need it on ITC to win the hold more. I also think Black Legion is good that they can give somebody else a Dark Apostle and a Sorcerer extra Warlord traits, because a Black Legion Warlord trait is a Command Reap Gen 1. That's really good. I think Abaddon's +1 to Death of False Emperor is good. So they have some stuff. It's just not enough, and their Legion trait is really sad. So, but yes, I think I wouldn't make an entire army of Black Legion, but I do think it's worth considering bringing a detachment of Black Legion in a Chaos Soup army. For Night Lords, on their Warlord traits, there's one, you could charge when he fell back, subtract 1 from the hit roll against him in melee. Not bad. Add D3 when he charged. Not bad. Or heroically intervened. Or were charged. Okay. The rest, I think, aren't worth talking about. Relics. I kind of agree with what they put. There's a Stormbolt plate. This was actually one of the more fun ones, I think, in Trader Legions. A lot of these are named after what you had in the old ones. So yeah, there's let's see if I can get this in focus. Anyway, you can see it here. It's down here at the bottom. This is Stormbolt trait. They just updated it for the 8th edition rules. It's +2 armor save, always being cover. What this is good on, I think, is if you're taking a Night Lord, Sorcerer, and a jump pack, because that guy doesn't have an invulnerable save. He only has a 3-up save. There's so many snipers now. Space Marines get a ridiculous amount of boosts to their snipers. They can shoot indirect, +1 to wound, lots of stupid stuff. Suddenly, you know, it's not going to save against mortal wounds, but if people are sniping him, you know, if you're sniping him with a -3 gun, you're still getting a 4-up save on this guy. And, you know, he doesn't come with an invulnerable save, and so I think that's good. Otherwise, I'm not interested. There's the Vox Demonicus that was already previewed on Warhammer Community. Enemy units within 6 reduce their aura abilities to 1. And you can't set up enemy models within 12. Both of those are really good. I think that's fine. There's one that gives you D3 additional attacks. It doesn't replace your war gear. It's okay. Goes up to D6 if you charge and heroically intervene. I think that's actually not bad. But it doesn't matter that much. Improve the AP of melee weapons by 1. Subtract 1 from attacks made with enemy models. I think that's really good on Lightning Claws. Or you can give it to Malefic Talons. Hey, AP3 Malefic Talons sounds not bad. But there's probably better relics. Yeah, I don't use a Chain Lord, Daniel, but I know some people do. But yeah, they do have that. This is where I think why Night Lord's made out better than most people. Their stratagems here are amazing, and I think they're going to be really good in the Soup Army. There's the old one. Hey, in Midnight Clad, when you get targeted in an opponent's shooting phase, subtract 1 from the hit roll. The problem I have with this is that it's, I wish it was when they made a shooting attack, because when I really want to use this is when I do what I'm planning on doing, which is, you know, getting another 5 Warp Talons, actually bringing Warp Talons, which you've probably never seen before in a game in this edition. You bring down 10 so you can do all the other stuff I'm about to talk about, and then someone uses an intercept stratagem on you to shoot you, like bunch of Dark Reapers or, you know, Space Marines. I would love to take -1 off of that hit roll, and I'm sad that it's only in the shooting phase, but it's still good. Vox Scream. Use at the end of your movement phase. Select one model within 18 inches of a Night Lord unit. So if you have a big unit, it's any model in that unit. Until the start of your next movement phase, enemy units cannot use the selected unit's auras abilities. It's 2 command points. You can turn off the Iron Warrior's invulnerable save. You can turn off, until the start of next movement phase, you can turn off all of Guilliman's, all of his aura buffs. I mean, this is really amazing. If people are relying on someone to, you know, save the leadership on their units, you can turn that off. It lasts the rest of your, basically lasts your whole turn and their whole turn. And you know, if I assume they typed this up pretty carefully, and it says here, select one model within 18 inches of the Night Lord's unit. It doesn't say visible model, so I can use this from a character hiding in a ruin, Or I can use this on some jackass chapter master with extra warlord traits and whatever, sitting in the middle of a ruin in a giant Ultramarines or Iron Warriors gun line. I can turn it off. I don't have to see him if this is true, in which case this is amazing. I love this, and it's worth taking Night Lords just for this, with maybe like a deep striking unit. Then Prey on the Weak, when shooting or fighting with Night Lords unit, as long as your leadership is higher than the models in the unit, which you probably are going to be if you're Night Lords and doing all that stuff, you add 1 to your hit rolls. Yes. I actually think this is good, because if you bring 10 Warp Talons in your list with a jump pack Lord, which is what I want to do, some armies you don't want to do damage. You want to come down, tag as few of your Warp Talons into as many different units as possible, keep some guys back, don't fight with them until they consolidate in, and then don't use their Talons, attack with their base profile so that you do almost no damage to what you're charging, so that then you can pile in and kill them on their turn, so that they don't have a chance to remove all their models and then be out of combat. You want to keep things stuck with you if you're fighting bad stuff. But if you're fighting someone that doesn't have any screen units and they actually have a bunch of good melee stuff, you need those Warp Talons to do damage when they come down, and then you use this. And then, you've got those 10 Warp Talons, and they're hitting on 2s, that Lord's going to even reroll 1s, and suddenly, at least they're doing damage. What I like about this that I don't think they caught on in this review is it gives you the flexibility, if you're bringing something like Warp Talons, of do you want them to do no damage and then just stick to things like glue and really mess up a Tau army or a Space Marine gun line? Or do you need them to do a lot of damage when they come in because you're playing against Knights and you just need to hit hard or something? 1 command point isn't bad. You don't need to risk casting Prescience on them instead of something else. I like having this option. This is amazing too. It's hit and run. 1 command point. If you fell back with the unit, you can charge with it. I love that. Tag some stuff. Keep it from falling back. If somehow you're still in combat, next turn, with those jump packs or wings, jump 12 over what you're still in combat with. Let the other stuff in your army attack it. Suddenly you're in the back line, spend a command point, charge a bunch of other stuff, and then keep that from falling back. And so I think you're going to make some really slippery units if you can keep your Raptors or your Warp Talons alive. Then this is the amazing one that that combos that I keep referring to with all these other combos. Select Night Lord's unit, not a vehicle, to start your next turn. Enemy units within 1, so if you're already in combat with them, can't fall back unless their vehicles are Titanic or have a minimum move characteristic. It's amazing. Raptor Strike, let's just jump to that. Before charging with the jump pack unit, here, I was really excited about this, but actually I need to check something. So, the whole point of why I want to bring Night Lords is to bring Warp Talons. However, I don't know if Warp Talons count as having jump packs, or if they just have wings, but I think they have jump packs because they're modeled with it. It's not the same as Possessed, where they just look like they have wings, but I want to be double sure and triple sure. Yeah, okay, they have the jump pack keyword, no problem. So here's what I want to do. Bring 10 Night Lords Warp Talons, deep strike them in a detachment from Virules that get with the Lord. His has the Warlord aura with a +2 to charge results. So now they need to make a 7-inch charge, spend 1 command point. Those Warp Talons now need to make a 7-inch charge on 3d6. If you really wanted, you could make them Khorne and bring a Khorne Demon detachment and put a character deep striking down next to them, like the 56-point character that gives them +1 strength too. And now, if you really need it, you've got a unit deep striking in that makes a 3d6 charge with +2. And if you want to bring the Khorne Demon, you're re-rolling that. If somehow magically you rolled 3 1s and then you rolled a 5, for your charge, or you rolled like, because even if you make all 2s, you're going to make it. But somehow if you rolled like 1, 1, and a 2, and you didn't make it with a +2, somehow, you get to re-roll it. But I don't think you need that. This is amazing. So now warp talons are on 32mm bases. Take 10 of them, spread them out as far as possible, make almost a guaranteed charge. Enemy doesn't get to overwatch them because your warp talons came in from Overwatch. Then at the start of your opponent's turn, spend 1 command point. Anything that's not a vehicle or Titanic that those warp talons are still touching doesn't get to fall back. That's amazing. Some lists or players, if they don't position right, will not be able to deal with 10 warp talons using some of these stratagems from Night Lords. I might bring this in every game I play once I have the models painted, just because if someone can't deal with this combo, they will probably lose the game if they're playing a gunline army. That's why I'm excited about Night Lords. Alpha Legion is the other army that I'm most excited about. I love them in the fluff, but what I really think you can do here is Alpha Legion aren't as powerful out of the gate as Emperor's Children or World Eaters or something like that, but there's stuff you can do, I think, that I've been thinking of when I read the rules this morning, that you can do with the other legions that will really mess people up. A lot of people, especially if they're not playing with snipers, they really aren't used. They can't deal with not being able to shoot stuff. Orc Gunline can't deal with not being able to shoot stuff. When I won that tournament 2 weeks ago with my Mixed Chaos Army, one of the games I won was against an Orc player, and I deep struck some Bloodletters. They were still in combat, couldn't shoot them. I had the Blight Lords on the table already. I made it so that they Cloud of Flies. Then the rest were characters, because I was playing Thousand Suns too. And suddenly, he had 15 Ludas or 13 left. He had like a Relic Shock Attack Gun, a Shock Attack Gun. He had guys, he had like 8 Tank Busters, and they couldn't shoot at anything. Because closest thing was a unit in combat, can't shoot that. Then Blight Lords can't shoot that because of the stratagem, and then characters can't shoot that. And you can do similar things with Alpha Legion. And so let me go through what their stuff is, and then I'm going to tell you what I want to run that I would like to do as a combo. One of the Warlord traits, Clandestine. When attacking him, subtract 1 from the rune roll. Pretty good. If you're Alpha Legion, you're already -1 to hit from 12 inches away. So that's nice. Not bad. Maybe you can, I think they're right. You can do it double dip and just put it on someone with We Are All Furious. Put it on a Disco Lord. Yeah, maybe. Headhunter. They previewed this. The German website did. I put that on my page. The Warlord can target character units even if they aren't the closest. When you make a ranged attack, unmodified hit roll of 6 does 1 mortal wound. That's better than I thought. It's a hit roll. I thought it was a wound roll. So, you don't think that sounds exciting maybe to start with, but then go down to this relic. Viper's Bite. Combi Bolter, 24-inch range, rapid fire 2, strength 5, AP 2, 2 damage. Alright, well, every time I bring Terminators, I'm always bringing a Terminator Lord with a Combi Bolter. Now I'm going to give him this relic, if I'm bringing Alpha Legion Terminators. And I'm going to give him that Warlord trait. So, I'm coming down. Because of the new Bolter rules, he's in Terminator armor. At 24 inches, he can shoot 4 times. He's strength 5, AP -2, 2 damage. And now he can target characters at 24 inches out. And a hit roll of a 6 is a mortal wound 2. So this thing is going to cut through guard commanders, Gene Stealer cult characters. If they don't have extra Gene Stealer guys nearby, you're gonna just take them out. I think this is amazing. I like this a lot. If you want to be cheeky, if you really want to, killing characters is really what you need here. Maybe you're playing ITC and one of your secondaries is Headhunter, and you really need to pick up some of these cheapo little characters. You can make this guy Slanesh. And, use Veterans of the Long War when he shoots. It's strength 5, So a lot of things, infantry are probably going to be wounding them on 2s. And then if you use Cacophony on him, you get to shoot with him 8 times. You might kill 2 characters with this guy if you do that. People are not really excited about this. I think that is so much more useful than people expect, especially if you're also going to bring Thousand Suns. What I've noticed is when I bring Thousand Suns and I try to snipe characters with psychic powers, a lot of times you're just, you're going to have like 1 or 2 wounds left, even if you dump a bunch of powers. This guy, can help pick off people. Whoever's still left after psychic powers can take them out left and right. And so that's why I said earlier that sometimes that keyword for the different gods is really good. And you just make them Slanesh. You don't have to shoot twice with them. You can use it on something else. You don't have to spend those 2 command points, but if you really need it, you can. It gives you the option. So I really like that. And yeah, Steve and I agree. Shooting into that combat with Purge would be really funny if you're stuck with some really key units. This is amazing too. This is another relic, Hydra's Whale. At the start of a battle round, for the rest of just that one battle round, they have to spend a roll when they use any stratagem on a 4+. They spend an extra command point, or it has no effect if they choose not to use it. Anyone who's played against the Calidus knows how good this is. What I really like this for is, first of all, it's a whole battle round, so it's my turn and your turn. There's some armies that just dump a lot of command points their first turn, especially if, like me, you play an army that is hard to, kind of not that easy to shoot in the first turn. They might need to spend command points to like fire twice with a Thunderfire Cannon or something to make sure they pick up at least 1 unit. But orcs, man, orcs are going to be spending command points on Grot Shield. They're going to do the extra firing with the Relic Shock Attack Gun, with the Ludas. They might re-roll the amount of shots on the Ludas. If you can make them spend a couple extra command points, 1, 2, or 3, or 4 command points on their first turn, you are going to gut punch that army. And people don't really plan for that. It's not guaranteed to work, but if it does, this one relic will single-handedly give you an advantage for the game, rest of that game. Then there's also, they have a 2+ save, 5+ save against mortal wounds. Mind Veil, this was really good back when it was in the Trader Legion supplement, the earlier edition. Rolled 3d6, move characteristic, move through enemy models and terrain, can move over non-model buildings, non-building models, can charge and turn it fell back. They gave this a C-. I'm torn. I actually think this is really good on a Lord Discordant. Roll 3d6 for that movement. Yeah, on average you're going to be slightly less, but you can re-roll one of those and suddenly you're moving up to 18 inches. Over enemy models, you can ignore screens. He can always charge after falling back. It's not bad on a Terminator Lord. I think this just has a lot of ignore the normal rules abilities in one thing. And I think in this game, anything that ignores the normal rules that's really unique is powerful, especially it has to deal with movement, which this does. So I'm not going to write this off. I think we'll have to see. I think those are really the only things that are... Then there's this Power of Force Sword. It gives +1 strength, and it gives the bearer -1 to hit. The funny thing about that is, make like let's say you make a Demon Prince your Alpha Legion guy, and he's already -1 to hit from 12 inches out if someone has snipers or brings a flyer next to him but not close enough. And then you give him this Warlord trait that gives him -1 on the hit roll. And then you have a Force Sword and you take this relic. Suddenly you've got maybe like a Demon Prince that's -2 to hit in melee, -3 to shoot at him if you're more than 12 inches away. If you make him Nurgle, you can cast Miasma on him, so then he's -3 or -4 to shoot at him. A lot of armies just can't shoot him at that point. If you want to be a dick, you can just do that and put him in front of your army. If the rest of your army, if you want to use their stratagem that I'm about to talk about, and just make something that you can't really, is there a lot of stuff that can hit a model that has -4 to hit on him? I don't think so. And then you're going to be -3 to hit melee, and he's a psyker, so he can cast Miasma on himself. Not a lot of stuff can hit something in melee with -3 to hit. If someone's got a Thunderhammer, they're another -1 to hit, so they're -4. Space Marines aren't hitting him if they have Thunderhammers. Goodbye, Smash Lord. So I do think this is funny if you want to just make a guy have a lot of minus to hit. I'm going to jump right to what I really like here in the... Well, I mean, I like all these strats. I love Alpha Legion from the supplement, but here's Conceal. 2 command points. The start of the opponent's shooting phase. This is really important. I hope that this means they're going to do it for Blight Lords. There's a lot of older stratagems like this that were written poorly. They're in the movement phase, which is not when you want to use it. You want to use it when you get shot so that you know if you need to use it. And the really important thing is, after those codexes like the Death Guard one came out, Games Workshop, to address a totally different issue, released an FAQ that says stratagems in the movement phase can't be used for a unit that comes in at the end of the movement phase, like a Deep Strike unit. So Blight Lords can't Deep Strike and use Cloud of Flies. Alpha Legion Terminators can Deep Strike and then use this in their opponent's shooting phase, and it does the same thing. That is super good. That is super good. Pick an Alpha Legion infantry unit until the end of phase. It can't be shot at unless it's the closest target. Alright, put a -3 or -4 to hit character in front of your Terminators. Can't shoot the Terminators, character's closer. Probably not going to shoot the character because he's -3 or -4 to hit. Okay. And maybe you can't shoot that character anyway because maybe it's a Demon Prince that is less than 10 wounds and you've got Nurglings up the field, hidden in the building. So can't really shoot the Demon Prince. Can't snipe the Demon Prince because he's got like -4 to hit on him. Can't shoot the Terminators because the Demon Prince is in front of the Terminators and is visible. And now I've got these Terminators in the middle of the table. They're shooting at 24 inches out. This will give a shooting army nightmares. If they have flyers, they can move up, but it's still amazing. And then look at this other stuff. They sell to forward operatives if you want to move up 9 inches before the game starts. You can move those Alpha Legion infantry up the board if you like Terminators if you wanted. Sabotaged Armory, it's 3 to the explosion result for an opponent. I think that's amazing. I love that. That's one of my favorite stratagems I've ever seen. I've won games because my opponent blew up in his own line with a knight or something. They can't re-roll it. I love it. Scrambled Coordinates. When your opponent's setting up a unit as reinforcements, they have to be 12 inches away from all Alpha Legion units in your army. That is incredibly good. Your entire Alpha, everything in your army that's Alpha Legion, including characters, suddenly cannot be assaulted from Deep Strike. Even if they have a 3d6 charge, because you cannot declare something as a target of a charge unless it's within 12 inches. It's only against one thing they're bringing down, but think of how many armies bring down 1 unit of Terminators, or jumping a unit of boys, or Gate of Infinity, a unit of Grey Knight Terminators or Paladins, or something like that. You just say, you know what? Can't assault anything that's Alpha Legion or that's next to Alpha Legion. So, you move those Terminators up the board that are untargetable, then they're like, well, okay, so I'm going to Deep Strike next to you and charge you. Nope, you don't get to do that either. Can't come within 12 inches of those Alpha Legion Terminators. Oh, look, what's this other stratagem? Ambush, 2 command points. After an enemy unit is set up on the battlefield as reinforcements, pick an Alpha Legion unit within 18. That's really good. It's not 12, it's 18. Shoot as if it were the shooting phase. Doesn't have the -1 to hit that a lot of, codexes do. Amazing. So now, you just jumped your boys next to my Terminators because you want to assault them. I spend a command point. You can't assault them because now you're outside of 12 inches. Now I spend 2 more command points, and those Terminators are putting 40 shots into you. Probably rolling ones to hit from a nearby Lord or something, or a Demon Prince. So you just jumped them, can't assault me, and I get 40 free shots at you. That's not bad. So a lot of armies just rely on being able to throw one unit at you out of a deep strike or a bloodletter bomb, or they assume they can deep strike and then shoot without losing anybody. And Alpha Legion just messes with all of that. And then let's say you get into combat with that Terminator unit. Hey, look, 1 command point. You can fall back and still shoot. No minus to hit penalty there either. Okay. Deep striking Terminators, shoot with them. They're Alpha Legion. They're -1 to hit. Even if you can target them, you probably can't target them because I have something closer. Even if you intercept me, I'm probably outside of 12, so you're -1 to hit because I'm Alpha Legion. If you try to deep strike into them, I'm going to spend a command point. You can't charge them. You're outside of 12. If you get into combat with them, and you don't bubble wrap them, I fall back, I still shoot you. And then you can also use this reticent infiltrators. At the end of your movement phase, pick an infantry unit that's not within 1 inch of enemy model, so not in combat. Didn't already arrive with reinforcement. Pick it up, and then next turn, deep strike it again. So this is the same thing that Genestealer Cult have. They may FAQ this similar to how they recently FAQ Genestealer Cult, where you can't do it. They can't come in after turn 4. Until then, you can do this at the end of the game if you want. Now, you do lose a turn with this unit, but you can do it. If you don't want to go over the amount of power level and units that are in reserve for deep strike in your army, if you want to make a really heavy deep strike army, start a unit of Terminators on the board. Turn 1, and then turn 1 use this, maybe before your opponent even goes, and just pick them up, and then a deep strike turn 2 like normal. And it only costs you 1 command point, and you help get around all those deep strike restrictions of not being able to put too much of your army into deep strike. It's not going to be used that often, but it's only 1 command point, and right now there's no restrictions on it other than its infantry. And maybe you take one of those Alpha Legion backline units in the back of your boards. Then you put them at your opponent's deployment zone, end of the game for that last command point, that last victory point for ITC old school. Daniel, scrambled coordinates in your opponent's movement phase. Okay, that's a good point. You can't use it against the psychic power stuff, which makes me less excited. That means I'm still going to get the jumped by orcs. I wonder if there's anything that will make an exception to that. Counts as if it were the movement phase, but probably not. So, but I still really like this because it's going to work on everything except psychic powers. Even Dark Metal Crystal happens in the movement phase, so I do still really like this. I would love to be able to screw over the jump, but at least I get to shoot them if they try to get near my Terminators. So these are all like 1 or 2 CP, and they're so good. Here's what I want to do in a list that I really was thinking about today. Do that Night Lord's thing, bring 10 Warp Talons, give them a guaranteed assault basically, can't get overwatched, and bring in a unit of 10 Alpha Legion Terminators behind them. Try to make the charge. It's a 9-inch charge. If I don't make it, okay, whatever. On your turn, I'm going to spend 2 command points, and you can't shoot the Terminators unless they're the closest visible model. Well, they're not, because I've got 10 Warp Talons that are in combat in front of you, closer to you, that you can't fall away from. So now I've got a bunch of Terminators right on your doorstep that you can't shoot, and a bunch of Warp Talons that are in combat with you that you can't fall back from, that you also can't shoot. And probably behind the Alpha Legion and the Warp Talons, I'm going to have my characters that you also can't shoot, because they're not the closest anymore unless you have sniper rules. So I really want to do a Night Lord's attachment and an Alpha Legion attachment. It's going to be very command point heavy, but you're going to be able to mess up deep strikes. You're going to be able to mess up their Overwatch, their fallback, the amount of command points they have to spend. If they blow up, you get to like blow them up probably with. So there's so many good stratagems you can do if you bring an Alpha Legion attachment and a Night Lord's attachment. And they also get a stratagem to give another Alpha Legion character a Warlord trait. I like that a lot. Space Marines get to do this with everyone, which annoys me because Warlord traits are so good when you have a lot of them to pick from like they do. But I like this a lot. It says another Alpha Legion character. I don't know if that means your main Warlord has to be it. There's also a Warlord trait that you can pick up a Warlord, set him down within 3 of an infantry unit, more than 9 away. What you can do with this is if you want to do that thing I talked about earlier where you start 10 Alpha Legion Terminators on the board and pick them up the first turn. If you don't want to bring or you can't bring a Terminator Lord and Terminator Armor to also deep strike them, if you want to keep even more units out of against your quota of number of half your units being in deep strike and no more, you can use this on a Demon Prince. The reason I always bring Terminator Lords with my Terminators is because I need to be able to deep strike with that rerolled 1 to hit aura. Here, first turn, pick up the Terminators. Second turn, deep strike the Terminators, then use this Warlord trait once a battle, pick up that Demon Prince or whatever, and put them right next to those Terminators. They've got rerolled 1s to wound, and then I have a Demon Prince, which is much better than Terminator Lord and Terminator Armor. So, you can just really mess with people, and there's probably going to be stuff that I haven't even thought of like some sort of really funny HQ or something in Forge World that you're picking up and bringing back down. I don't know what all is a character in Forge World that you could use this on, but it's infantry only, but... Oh, okay. No, it's anyone. Yeah, it just has to be within an infantry unit. I don't know if there's like a character Dreadnought in Forge World or something. I just think that's really flexible. Trying to wrap up here. Iron Warriors. Demon Smith, when resolving attack made by a model in a friendly Iron Warriors Demon engine, within 6, unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores an additional hit. I like that. Maybe that would make Forge Fiends good. If you also have a Disco Lord for the +1 to hit, and then maybe you have a Master of Possessed for the aura of like, there's like if you have a gun line with demon engines that shoot, there's some or like the Forge World Dreadnoughts that have the demon keyword. I don't know if they have the demon engine or Cult of Destruction, but this is also Cult of Destruction, so it also works on obliterators. Extra hits on obliterators, especially if there's one that you're double tapping with Endless Cacophony from Slaanesh, and that is then firing twice with that, and then maybe has Veterans of Long War, and then extra hits, score additional hits, especially with some of these other strats. That's really good. I think no one's going to do that unless they're already a fluffy Iron Warriors player, but if you have this is an amazing, amazing, amazing Warlord trait, and you could probably do some pretty weird stuff with this, like a Gunline army that gets all the +1 invulnerable save and rerolls from the Master of Possessed. It's not bad. Then friendly Iron Hands, Havocs, and vehicles within 6 reroll 1s to wound. Great. Put it on a Chaos Lord, reroll 1s to hit and to wound. Friendly Iron Warriors don't suffer penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons while within 6. Suddenly, maybe Forge Fiends are good. It's just not good enough because the other ones are so good. There's There's one that gives a demon keyword and +1 strength, toughness, and wounds. I think it's really good. I talked earlier about all the combos you can do with the demon keyword. Then there's this one. A model with this relic can use it instead of shooting. Roll a d6 for each enemy vehicle within 9. On a 4 to 5, it's d3 mortal wounds. On a 6, it takes 3. Yeah, I put it on like a jump pack sorcerer, and it's not one use only. You can do this every turn. This is like taking one of your crappy cheap characters and turning him into a better version of the Mortarion Mortal Wound aura. It doesn't degrade. A 6 is 3 every time. It's 9 inches instead of 7 inches. I think that's really awesome. Axe is a Forge Master. Power Axe or Demonic Axe, so Demon Prince can take it. +3 strength, really important because I want to be able to like get a high strength on my Demon Prince. -3 AP, I love that. 2 damage, I like 2 damage more than D3 damage. Whenever you fight a vehicle, unmodified hit rolls of 5+ inflict D3 mortal wounds. This is a better version of the Corn Axe that is amazing that I love. I mean, it's not as much AP, it's not D6 damage, but geez, you throw Corn Demon Prince with this axe into like a vehicle, and you're gonna get 6 attacks before any other buffs. Hitting on 2s, rerolling the 1s. Each 5+ is D3 mortal wounds to a vehicle. This will chew through knights. It's even good on just a guy with a jump pack. You know, and it's good against dreadnoughts. It's good against Lord Discordance. This is a really, really good relic. They have a decent combi bolter. Then there's this thing that you can give to Lord Discordance. Replaces their Mecha Tendrils with one that does 4 attacks, but don't really do anything except that each hit is a mortal wound. So it's like, oh, okay. And those 4 attacks, you know, they can get Death to the False Emperor or whatever. If you put this on something that's hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, you know, just, hey, free mortal wounds, potentially quite a lot of them. That's pretty good. I just don't know if you really want to put it on something, but I think it's good. Their strats, I'm going to try to finish up this episode, but use Methodical Annihilation, 1 CP, Shooting Phase, pick Iron Warriors unit, reroll damage rolls or any of the dice to determine type characteristic. Really good shooting for out of you know, a Havoc unit or something, or I think number of shots is, I guess. Reduce by 1 the amount of AP when an Iron Warrior isn't being shot. It's any type of unit that's Iron Warrior, so you can use it on Demon Prince or Disco Lord. Starting your movement phase, 1 CP, give 3 wounds to an Iron Warrior's vehicle. I really like that. Maybe use that on some of the Forge World Dreadnoughts. Tank Hunters. Non-cultists, pick a vehicle. You can reroll wounds against that vehicle. Oh, okay. This is anything in your army that's Iron Warriors. Well, it doesn't even say that, but I assume that's what it means. Any of your Iron Warrior stuff can reroll wounds against that vehicle for 1 command point. That's amazing to take down like a knight with a bunch of relics on it. Really good. 1 command point, Obliterators, reroll any or all of the D3 rolls. Also really good. Combined with that thing earlier about where was it? The Warlord trait for Cult of Destruction, unmodified hit rolls of a 6. So you're getting to the point where deep striking a Terminator Warlord from Iron Warriors with some Iron Warriors Obliterators, and then using some of these stratagems is just going to be really good. And then use this Methodical Annihilation, reroll the damage rolls. Well, I mean, it would be flat on that one, but I mean, this is really good. Start your opponent's shooting phase for cannon fodders, 2 command points. Pick an infantry unit, pick a cultist unit. If the cultists are a closer visible target, they have to hit the cultists. This is good. It's just not as good as the Alpha Legion one at all. But I do like it. Emperor's Children. I really like Emperor's Children. I think they're good. I think their trait, Always Fight First, is not bad. I really like Emperor's Children Terminators. I'm going to tell you why. So Warlord traits, reduce damage by 1. Not bad. Loathsome Grace, reroll charge rolls, add 1 strength and attacks. When you charge, make heroic intervention. This is good on a Demon Prince. Then there's enemy units within 3 inches of Warlord have -1 to hit. I actually think this is really good. I think this is better than a C. Because you can charge them up like with your Terminators, and then whatever's in melee with your Terminators, if you're in melee with the same unit, they're at -1 to hit. Unless it's only against the Warlord, but that's not what they wrote here. Then there's Armor of Abhorrence. Enemy units can't fire Overwatch. If they fail morale within 6 inches, an additional model flees. This is really good if you don't want to bring Night Lords and you still want to block Overwatch. Bring this guy down, find a way to give him a better charge, and then have him attack a unit, prevent the Overwatch, and then like your 10 Terminators go in. I like that a lot. Then they have one for Dark Apostle. Once per battle, instead of chanting and praying, he doesn't get to do a prayer. For the rest of that battle round, reroll wounds within 6 inches. That's all wounds. It's not just wounds 1. It's all wounds, and it's shooting, and it's melee. Again, he's a guy on foot, but he's Emperor's Children, so he's going to have Slanesh keyword. Then he doesn't get to do a prayer to advance and charge, but that's a good one to have on him anyway. So, use that with a bunch of Emperor's Children Terminator obliterators or Terminators. Yeah, amazing. Then there's one that model can reroll all charge, hit, and wound rolls. Give it to a guy with a Thunderhammer. Give it to a Demon Prince. It's amazing. Stratagems, combat elixirs, 2 command points, 1 unit, not a vehicle or cultist, +1 attack, strength, +2 to move, or +1 toughness. Put this on Emperor's Children Terminators. Make them toughness 5. They have Slanesh, so that means you can cast Delightful Agonies on them. So they have a 5 but feel no pain. Now they are the same as the Blight Lords, except that they don't have a 4-up invulnerable save, but they're 2 wounds, feel no pain, and toughness 5. You can't cast -1 to hit on them like you can with Blight Lords, but otherwise, now they're Blight Lords and they cost 100 points less. And they don't have their advanced move, and they move 1 inch more. And you take it in attachment that has all the good psychic powers from the Chaos Space Marine Codex. And they're going to fight first, unlike Blight Lords, every time. Not bad. Excess of Violence. When you choose an Emperor's Children infantry unit to fight, when you destroy an enemy model, you'll make an additional attack. This is better than that. They said it's a C+. I think it's a lot better than that. Now that you have the Hateful Assault, those Terminators are going to have 31 attacks in the first round of combat. Okay, let's say I'm fighting against Hordes. I'm going to be with Prescience and all that. They're going to be 31 attacks, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. I'm going to give them Veterans of the Long War. So with the Chain Axes, they're going to be Strength 5. They're going to be wounding Orcs on 2s. They're AP -1. Every time they kill a model, they do an extra attack. And of course, you're going to be starting with more than 31 attacks if you're fighting an Imperial unit, and then you're triggering Death to the False Emperor on a 5-up with Prescience. So this is, for 1 command point, a really good, really useful stratagem on a unit of Terminators. They have a 6-inch heroic intervention command point, Honor the Prince. After making a charge roll with an Emperor's Children unit from your army, change one of the D6 results to a 6. This is amazing. I love this. Use this with a unit of 10 Terminators or with the Lord that has all that other good stuff I mentioned earlier. Now, your Emperor's Children 10 Terminators are guaranteed to only need, unless there's some other modifiers, they only need to make a 3-up on a die roll that you can re-roll, assuming the other die roll wasn't already a 3-up. To get in. This is amazing. I love this, and it's another reason that I love Emperor's Children Terminators. Then there's one that make Noise Marines, +1 damage, +1 strength on Blastmasters, Sonic Blasters, and Doom Sirens. I think that's really good. Then when you pick Emperor's Children unit for 1 command point, any unmodified 6s will be AP -3. If I'm fighting something that has really good armor saves, or like Primaris, maybe I'll spend a command point on this when I do all the other stuff to try to get through more of them. And then for 1 command point, you can redeploy 1 unit. It's not bad. But I think Combat Elixirs, Excess of Violence, almost guaranteed deep strike charge, Emperor's Children Terminators that have 10 bolters or 10 combi bolters or 10 combi plasmas that because they're Slanesh, they get to fire twice. So deep strike in 10, shoot 80 shots with +1 to wound, hitting on 2-ups, re-rolling at 24 inches out, kill most of the Orc Boys or Grot Screens or Genestealer Cult units your opponent has on a table or Guardsmen. Just take them off the table, and then charge with a guaranteed 6. If you stay in combat, you're always fighting first. So, or count as charging basically. You can get extra attacks when you kill models. You can get them to toughness 5 before the game starts. You can give them feel no pain from a psychic power. And it's only 290 points for 10 guys with chain axes and combi polters. Really, really, really good value for your money. And you got to bring some characters with them, but there's great stuff you can give the characters with those relics and warlord traits. So that's amazing. So the last one is World Eaters. I think there's the least interesting stuff to say about them. Violent Urgency. When advance or charge is made for World Eaters units within 6, add 1 to result. That's awesome. Coming out of Deep Strike. If you want to deep strike in those Berserkers, if you make World Eaters Terminators, being Khorne, you can already give them the icon that gives them a reroll charges. So now you've got an 8-inch rerolling charge for your Khorne Terminators. I like that a lot. True Berserkers have incoming damage from melee weapons. It's okay. Battle Lust, increase heroic intervention range to 6, fight first in the fight phase. That's okay, but the one about the +1 charge and advance, I like a lot. Relics, Plasma Pistol, I don't care about that. Chain Axe with an axe that, it's good. Unmodified wound rolls for 6 or 3 mortal wounds, but it's -1 to hit, maybe. Banner of Rage, Priest Model, once per battle, add 1 to attack, so friendly war leaders within 6. Very good if you're running a foot army with Berserkers. When an enemy model is destroyed by Relic Holder with this fight phase, roll d6. On 4+, regain 1 wound. I don't think 1 wound's enough. They still have their 1 CP, block psychic power on a 4+, really good. You can move a unit for 1 command point 9 inches. It's like Alpha Legion. What you can do is take a unit of Khorne Terminator, start them on the table, maybe inside a building. If you go first, move them up 9 inches before the start of the game, then move them up another 5 inches. Then, from an allied detachment, cast Warp Time, move them another 5. I think you can advance when you do this before the game, but even if you can't, that's 19 inches of movement before your opponent even gets to go. Can't stop it with anti-deep strike stratagems, and potentially you're assaulting turn 1 with Corn Terminators at the top top half of the battle round. I think that makes it viable to take Corn Terminators. And then they have this other one, Red Butchers. Take a unit of Terminators, add 1 to the strength, and they get to fight twice like Berserkers. You can give it a Lightning Claw Terminators that just charge through stuff. Now potentially Terminators you can fight 3 times, and they all benefit from Veterans of the Long War. You can hit someone with this, like I said, at the start of the game, if you use that 9-inch move and you're going first. Just really good. I don't know what else to say. Put it on a unit of 290 point Terminators and just chew through stuff. Then they get, after World Eater's character kills a character with a melee weapon, gain D3 command points. I love this. What's great about this is it's not 1. I would assume because it explicitly says D3 command points, you can gain more than 1 in a battle round. So imagine if you... I'm waiting to see if they FAQ that, but imagine if you use this twice and you gain 6 command points. That's as much as some armies have, and you just get it as free. I think that's amazing. When selecting World Leaders into the fight, until end of fight phase, improve the AP by 1. Great for Berserkers, great for guys with Lightning Claws, great for guys with Chain Axes. Suddenly those Chain Axes are AP too. I love it. When you destroy an enemy unit fight phase, until start next turn, World Leader units auto pass morale. They gave this an F. I don't think this is an F. You spend 2 command points to auto pass morale as it is. This is for your entire army without range. And it says the fight phase. It doesn't say if it's your opponent's fight phase or your fight phase. Auto pass all morales. Yeah, it doesn't come up all the time, but when is this useful? I think it's amazing. Stoke the Nails, 1 command point, infantry or biker. Death of the False Emperor triggers on everything and triggers on a 5-up against Imperium units. Okay, so take those Terminators, assault turn 1, give them prescience and warp time. Now they're going to fight 2 to 3 times with 31 attacks and Veterans of the Long War, and they're generating extra attacks every time on a 4-up against Imperials, on a 5-up against any non-Imperials. Give them a command point. All those attacks are AP -1, an additional AP -1 for a couple command points. And then there's another one here that I saw. Using a fight phase before you consolidate with the World News unit, move 6 instead of 3. This is incredible. Anyone who's ever played with Bloodletters knows how good it is to get a lot of extra movement when you're fighting and to move around. These guys, it's 2 command points, which is a lot for this. I don't like that, but let's say you do that. Let's say you move 19 inches or more. The first turn with those Corn Terminators on foot, you assault, you move 2d6. You're going to be closer if you deep struck, probably, because you might be within 5 inches of their line instead of starting 9 inches out, because it was all in the movement phase. You didn't deep strike down. Then you're going to move 3, pile in, 6-inch consolidate. So now you've moved 28 inches, plus the 12, 2d6 from the charge. So you potentially moved 40 inches in the first turn. You fight again because of that upgrade. So now you've moved 46 inches, depending on how you're moving around enemy models, and then you activate a command point, the 3 command point stratagem to fight with a Corn Infantry unit for the World Eaters, and then you're adding another 6, so that's what, 52 inches of movement out of a Corn Terminator unit, if they're not screening to block you and you're not being blocked by terrain. Do you want to fight 3 times and move 52 inches with a Corn Terminator unit with 3 or 4 different buffs on it before your opponent even has a first turn? I know I would. You could potentially table someone with that. You can kill all their infantry with this. With all the extra movement, you're going to have a really easy time bubble wrapping units without fly or things that are too tough for you to kill, which shouldn't be much if you use all these stratagems. I mean, the only reason I would ever bring a World Leaders Detachment is for this, but you can table some people with their 290 point unit before they ever get to go using these stratagems. You know, that's pretty ridiculous. And if you bring multiple good units, like you have some guys, Berserkers on foot, if you do all that with the Terminator unit first turn, or second Terminator Deep Strike, and then you run all your Berserkers out, okay, they're going to be distracted by the Terminators, and then, but you can still use any of these stratagems except for the upgrade one. You can use them all on your Berserker units, and they're going to do just as much damage. So, you know, they do need to turn down Space Marines a bit with all the shooting, but, you know, if that happens, other than that, you know, this makes close combat Corn Army viable. The stratagems are flexible. You don't know what units your opponent's going to use them on if they're hitting you with a couple things. So I'm pretty impressed with that, but I don't think it's as good as the other stuff. So that's my review of the Faith and Fury book. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. It was a little longer than I thought, but there's a lot of good content to talk about. It doesn't fix all the problems that the Army has, but I think it fixes enough. If you like this video, please subscribe. Please get your friends who are Chaos players to subscribe to this channel. Whether I do more stuff like this and share my thoughts and talk about some of the rules that not everybody knows is going to depend on if I have people watching it and if I have people subscribing it. And if I get enough subscribers, it's going to allow me to do some more stuff with the channel that I'm not able to do right now. So thanks for you guys who are in the chat, who stuck around. For those of you who are just watching this on replay, I hope it's worth your time. Maybe you want to go back and re-listen to some of the stuff. If you agree or disagree with stuff in this video, comment. You can look at my earlier videos. I get notifications when people comment, and I answer questions or I chat back and forth. And follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/HexfleetVirules. And thanks for tuning in, and I'm excited about this book. First time in a long time we've gotten a really good supplement. Definitely better than Virules.